Hello and welcome to ThePrint. With me today we have Dr. Gitanjali J, Angmo, who is the founder and CEO of HIAL. Welcome to ThePrint, ma'am.
Thank you.
To begin with, let's talk about the current developments that have taken place and your comments on Sonam Wangchuk's arrest, and if you could tell our viewers about how the arrest happened, because he was supposed to address a press conference in Leh city yesterday around 2:30, and then the news broke out that he has been arrested.
Yeah, he was at his village and there were some police who just entered the house, and then we found later that there were more than hundreds of them on the road, and the whole house was searched, and then they just took him. Later on I got a call from the inspector of police here that it was, I asked for the FIR, so they said there hasn't been an FIR, it has been a detention. And he has been taken to the central jail at Jodhpur.
Right.
And he will call me once he lands there, but till now he hasn't called.
Okay.
So that's how it happened. But what surprised me was that he said the detention order was for National Security Act, under Section 3/2, which is for instigating, violence and so on. But it is absolutely baseless, this allegation, because for the past 4 years the whole country and the world has seen that he has been leading this movement and the protests with absolute peacefully and in a Gandhian way, and he is certainly not a threat to public order. In fact, he is the hero and the inspiration for all the youth here. And secondly, he was not even aware when this instance broke out. Later on, we have several videos which show that even the youth were looking for a peaceful protest, as has been happening for the past 4 years. But suddenly, there was tear gas was opened on them, and then they got upset, and then stone pelting started, and then the whole thing escalated. So, and Sonam was in a very different park. So there was nothing that he would have done to instigate it. So it is absolutely like framing him and trying to make baseless allegations. If at all somebody has to be answerable, it is the CRPF and the Ministry of Home Affairs, that who ordered them to have open fire. What is the history of Ladakhi youth ever of violence that they had to resort to open firing? They have to be answerable for this rather than, taking Sonam, alleging him on this. All he's been asking for the past 5 years is just for the government to fulfill the promise on which they won the elections. The election manifesto which said that Ladakh would be granted 6th schedule. All he's been asking is for them to fulfill, because that's why people voted them into power, and he was constantly reminding them.
Speeches have been provocative and that they incited violence. Two of those videos, snippets of those videos that have gone viral on social media, and the Ladakh police has also cited those. In one of them, they have said that he has indirectly told the youth of Ladakh to wear masks. They have said that he is asking them to wear a mask to prevent themselves from catching COVID. But on the other hand, what he means is that they should wear a mask so that they don't get identified by the police. And the other video, which is a couple of seconds of a snippet that is doing the rounds, I'm sure you must have seen, where he's talking something with references to the crisis in Nepal, Sri Lanka, among other countries. Your comments on that?
Yeah. So the first was to help people to protect themselves, because it was a mass gathering, and we all know that recently there was news that a certain variant of COVID had become rampant, and there were many cases in India. So it was just to be preventive about it, and it is word by word translation of his Ladakhi, shows that it is genuinely means that for health reasons alone. And as far as the second video is concerned, and which has been truncated and taken out of context and blown out of proportion, all he's saying is that if the government is not responsive to the needs of the people, then the natural reaction to that is a revolution. And he's just giving the examples that we can see this happening in our neighboring countries. So he's urging the government to be responsive to that, and he's saying that then maybe if a person's life is needed, for that revolution to happen, then let it be my life, is what he was meaning. But it was not to say that we will make Ladakh like Nepal as it has been construed.
Right.
It was to learn from the mistakes that other governments did, who were not responsive to the needs of the youth. And we should not do the same by prolonging the decisions and not having jobs here for youth, not having the, 6th schedule which they have been fighting for. So I think it was pretty benign, and it has been just used to just smoke screen the whole thing and to blame him for what's going on.
And now with so many things happening, do you think that the future of HIAL and SECMOL, because these are educational institutions, that's also at stake right now, including the students and the staff?
No, it would be very unfortunate if something like that is done, because you went and met the students and you saw how happy they are here, and we will fight till the very end to protect them. But in case anything happens to HIAL, then more HIALs can be built in the future. HIAL is an idea whose time has come. A certain way of education which is the future, and nobody can stop it if the divine wills it. Right. If it is not in this village in Phyang, it can be done elsewhere. But we are not going to stop by any fear or any amount of harassment or witch hunting that is happening to us. We'll fight it till the end, because everything we do here is above board. And it's not today that they have started this. Now they have just become unilaterally, doing things whatever they want. They've been doing this for the last 4 years. They haven't found any single irregularity. So we will keep telling the public about what we are, where we stand for. We would deny the wrong allegations that they're putting on them. We will keep fighting till the very end.
Just for that our viewers have a little bit more clarity, why do Ladakhis want 6th schedule? Who are these outsiders who are coming here, taking away their land? Who are these outsiders taking away their jobs? Why is this fear? Why has this fear reached this extent?
So we all know that certain regions of this country, which are heavily which have tribal populations, the Constitution of India grants them a special status. And it is for 50% of the population. In Ladakh, it is more than 96%, first of all, to start with. Secondly, in addition to tribal population, this is a very fragile ecosystem. So 6th schedule grants protection to the people here. It has been misconstrued that Sonam is against development. Not at all. He is one of the most forethinkers and innovators. This buildings, there's nothing. The building that we are sitting right now is a passive solar heated building, which stays at plus 20 even when it is minus 20 outside without any artificial heating. It is more advanced than the best of the buildings in Europe and Canada, because no building without any artificial heating, this does not emit any carbon. And this is development, right? He's not somebody who wants to stay in the 100-year-old castle like thing. He's the most progressive person I know who wants development, but not the development that has happened in Uttarakhand or the Northeast, where it is like rampage, mining and all of that without the consent of the people there.
Right.
So his point is that a politician looks at any decision for 5 years till he's elected again. A businessman looks at any decision till he makes his profit and recovers his ROI. And these are short-term visions, maybe maximum 5 to 10 years. But it is the people who've stayed here for thousands of years and who will be staying for thousands years more who have to be participants in this whole decision making. That's all 6th schedule is telling us to do. It is not anti-development. And to give you a case in point, government is now planning to set up gigawatts of photovoltaics in Chantang region, which is traditionally known to have herder communities, whose livelihood depends on herding and growing Pashmina goats. Now, if you set up photovoltaics there, then you're displacing all these people. So Sonam is so pro-development that 5 years before this was announced, 5 years before, he started an experiment here on HIAL that if we make this photovoltaics into agrivoltaics, where the top generates electricity and bottom grows fodder, because on one hand, they would be displaced. On the other hand, there is a history of Pashmina goat dying every year because the whole land is covered with snow and they don't have grass to eat. So this solves both the problems. And we did it at a 5 kilowatt, agrivoltaic project and a 40 kilowatt, which was supported by the Indian Oil Corporation of India, to find what transparency has to be there and how much fodder grows. And it was such a successful experiment that government now wants to scale it up in Skangchutang area. But they won't acknowledge us nor take our expertise, but they'll steal the idea. And so, as you can see, these are not anti-developmental ideas. It is not, sixth schedule will not allow this to happen. Only thing it is doing is, it is co-opting the community as well into it and making the people love the government projects. Because not only it is not displacing them, but it is giving them fodder for their animals. So that's all he is talking about in sixth schedule. That please don't come as outsiders and just exploit whatever you need from here and go, leaving this place ravaged like colonizers would do or invaders would do. This is modern invasion and colonization, economic. So sixth schedule says that, or legislature that he's asking for, or statehood, is that people's representation has to be there in long-term decision making, because it is going to impact the people who are going to stay here for the next thousands of years, as they have been staying for the last thousands of years. Other politicians and businessmen will have a short-term view.
Correct. So have other instances where outsiders have come here and started mining or like taken up land and set up factories, because a lot of the public actually believe that this is happening?
Not yet. I'm not aware of it, because still this issue is under discussion. And so even if it is happening right now, maybe it's happening under wraps, where maybe the money is coming in and there is somebody here who is owning it.
Okay.
So, but as of now,
officially no land has been bought by any outsider.
As far as public knowledge goes.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening under wraps.
But on the surface, no such land has been like occupied, or factories have been set up without permission. Like, moving on, I would like you to address the allegations against Sonam's NGO, because the FCRA license was also cancelled.
No, we have two separate NGOs.
Right.
So HIAL is a Section 8 company.
Okay.
And SecMol is a society. So both and SecMol had an FCRA license, but they have cancelled it, as you can see in the National Herald today, as pointed out, ridiculous reasons. So the money that came in, had come for food sovereignty.
This is you talking about SecMol, right?
SecMol. So food sovereignty clearly means that, and this is the pedagogy of SecMol, that students who have failed their 10th grade, they come and stay for a year, and the whole campus is designed like their village, because they are not, overwhelmed with it if you make a very big school. So it kind of replicates their home and their village, and they are taught their life skills. They run the school, they manage everything, they grow their food, and most of the NGOs in India depend on grants to run. But both Sonam Wangchuk and I, from the start, were of this opinion that you should take CSR funds only for capex, for the buildings and all of that. But you should not depend on CSR for your operational costs. Because then when the funding stops, you have to shut your NGO, as you can see most of the NGOs in India happen. So here operationally we generate our own revenue. Because we don't, and that is what the corporates love about it, that you're not just dependent on them like parasites, but you're only using them initially and then you're on your own. So SecMol had this philosophy of 33%, that 33% of their needs are taken care of by the way the campus is designed. For instance, they have a off-grid, so they don't need electricity from the grid and no need to pay for it. And this was 35 years back when people didn't even know about photovoltaics, So Sonam, people say, is anti-development because he is about sixth schedule. He was most forward-thinking 35 years ago when nobody had even thought of photovoltaics. SecMol was an fully off-grid, solar-powered campus. So 30% of your cost gets taken care of, because you have your own electricity that you're generating, and you have your own farm where the students are learning. And they run this photovoltaic, setup, as well as the farms. They learn agriculture, They learn how to take care of the batteries.
It's a sustainable campus.
Yeah, that is the pedagogy.
Right.
And so this fund had come for food sovereignty, because initially to kickstart, you need capex, capital expenditure, to make a greenhouse or to get initial. This is absolute desert land. So you need funds to, get manure and all of that.
But these funds that you're talking about are not donations.
No, they were donations because SECMOL had a valid FCRA license.
At that point in time.
Yeah,
correct.
At that point in time. And it is through that the funds came as food sovereignty. But the ministry has in the order said that funds came for national sovereignty.
This is the order that you're talking about while cancelling the FCRA license.
Yes. So for about a year or more, it has been pending renewal. So it had expired. And they started this inquiry and they were just not renewing it for some reason for a year. And now, yesterday or day before, they've cancelled it on this frivolous, misinterpretation. Only an idiot can do this misinterpretation. That you read food sovereignty as sovereignty of the nation. I mean, I just don't get it. Ever since the license was pending renewal, no funds have come.
No funds have come. Only funds during it. But they are citing violation primarily on the basis of misinterpreting, like you said,
food sovereignty to sovereignty of the nation.
Right. Right. So that is SECMOL.
Yes.
HIAL operates with another NGO.
So HIAL is a Section 8 company because it was set up only. SECMOL was set up 35 years ago. HIAL was set up just 7-8 years ago. So HIAL, we had applied for FCRA license, which everybody knows is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. But this was applied when 4 years ago when Sonam had gone for his first unction. And we had the intelligence bureau coming and trying to blackmail us that if you go on unction, we will, this FCRA license, like asking a lot of questions about FCRA license. So trying to, hold us ransom that if you go on unction, we will not approve your FCRA license. So Sonam said, we don't need FCRA license.
You're a section 8 of the Companies Act anyway. So it's not like you're a non-profit organization, no?
No, we are a non-profit. But Section 8 is a non-profit organization.
Okay. All right.
So it is a not-for-profit organization.
Huh.
And we had applied for FCRA, but they were using it to force him to give up his fight for 6th schedule. But instead, we let go of the FCRA, said you cancel our application. You don't want to give, but we will fight for 6th schedule. So HIAL did not have an FCRA. But the funds that have come, which they are citing, are not donations. You need FCRA only for donations. But these are funds that we have got through service agreements for export of services. So we are a university. We do research. So, United Nations Development Program wanted to do research on these passive solar heated buildings so that they can build similar things in similar, terrains of the Tibetan plateau. So, it was for that research. And we have those service agreements in place. This was given to CBI. They agreed when they were here in person that yes, there is no violation. But now they are spreading this false narrative that funds have come. Yes, funds can come, no? I can sell my product to abroad. For that, I don't need FCRA license.
But how is HIAL caught in all of this?
HIAL has not received any donations. HIAL's pedagogy is learning by doing. So our students take up real life projects and work on it. So the Swiss Development Corporation, in association with FHNW University in Switzerland, they approached HIAL to do research on passive solar heated buildings. Similarly, UNDP wanted to take our expertise and take this research to other parts of the Tibetan plateau which are similar. Okay, and similarly, a third organization used our services as the contractor to build ice stupas. So any other government would be proud of an university that is not borrowing research like most Indian universities do from the Western universities, but it is exporting its knowledge, of the ice stupas, of passive solar heated buildings, of all the research that goes on here, which other universities want from us. It's a matter of pride, not of shame. And it is an export of service. It is a revenue. It is not a donation. So that I'm sure, the Ministry of Home Affairs should have intelligent people who can understand this difference. And I'm sure they're intelligent people. So the fact they're bringing it up is just to tarnish our image and to confuse the public by spreading false narratives and misinformation.
So, coming back to HIAL, can you tell our viewers something about this land? Because a lot is also being spoken about this land where your university and institute is based in. Also, if you could tell us about the kind of work that HIAL has been doing in terms of, imparting education, skill development to students, and also the primary job of SECMOL in imparting education. How do both these entities function individually?
So, this entire witch hunt started long back, but was intensified in the last 1 month, ending with Sonam's arrest. So the first salvo they fired was an order, unilateral one-sided order, that the initial order said that within 1 year we had to sign a lease deed, and we haven't signed it, so the land is escheated back to the government.
Right.
Under that, they wrote, and all encumbrances will be removed, which means bulldozers will be brought here, and 2 lakh square feet of space that we have built over the last 7 years will be demolished. That is the implication when you say we have to make it encumbrance free. So to that, we immediately gave a press release, and then they spread it like a fire in the press all across the country. So very next day, we countered them by saying that yes, this order was given in May of 2018. Within 15 days of that order, there is a letter from me to the district DC who represents the Hill Council that kindly let us know to proceed forward and sign the lease deed. But they did not at that point of time have an institutional category, so they could not tell us how much is the lease premium, so they made us wait. By then, in 2019, the UT had been formed, 370 had been revoked.
Just going back to who gave you this land?
So the Hill Council.
The Hill Council.
So in Ladakh, several large villages have demarcated institutional land because the villagers should have schools and colleges there. So the Fyang village, being one of the largest villages in Ladakh, had this land demarcated as the institutional land with the blessings of His Holiness and the people of Fyang, and with due no objection certificate from the people of Fyang. The Hill Council gave us this land through an order dated May 2018. So within 15 days, as I said, when I asked for the lease deed, there was no reply in writing, but orally I was told there is no institutional category.
This happened in 2018?
Yes.
Okay. Right after you were allotted the land?
Yeah. So 2019, again I wrote the letter when I was advised that because we don't have an institutional category yet, we have become a UT and we are making the lease policy. So please write a letter to the CEC at that time, Mr. Gyal, that please waive off the lease premium because we are anyway a not-for-profit and we are the only university in not just the country but the world that does not charge fees from its students. And I'll come to take this point when I explain why we have a private limited company. So why we don't charge fee is because we want to make education inclusive. Not every child can pay with money, but they can all pay with their hard work and creativity. So we believe that if we have to be a research and entrepreneurship teaching institute, we have to ourselves generate fundamental research, applied research, action research, and also create enterprises which the students run, and that generates the funds and that pays their fees. It is one of the most innovative models in the whole world. I haven't come across this model anywhere. I visited Harvard's and Stanford's and Cambridge and Oxford's. Everywhere people run with fees. Now, when you have to scale up this fundamental research, you need to set up a private limited company, which is Shezion Innovations Private Limited. Because let's say I make this PSH building and over 3 years we perfect it. And we measure the temperature for 3 years, which was the FHNW Swiss project that we did research. We measure the temperature and we see that while all the buildings are at 0 to 5 degree in the peak of winter in January, our buildings stay comfortably at 20 to 25, which is, human thermal comfort. So once we perfected this, we shared this with the government, and based on that, the UT makes a tourism policy that all tourism buildings in Ladakh have to be passive solar heated. Because we believe that a university is not just a certificate giving entity for the students so that then they go without any skills and start looking for jobs and get trained on the job. A university is a place that should work with the community, to solve their problems, so the students have real life problems to address. That's where they learn innovation, entrepreneurship. Then that university scales up that idea and gives it as a policy recommendation to the government, helps the government, because government does not have funds for fundamental initial research. They are good at scaling up. So that's what HIAL's philosophy is. So these buildings, once we had perfected it and the UT had made it a law that all tourism buildings have to be passive solar, then we approached the Indian Army. Because Indian Army have soldiers who live in bunkers which are freezing in winters and it's not comfortable. So Indian Army has to spend hundreds of crores, thousands of crores of rupees in fuel, transporting them to all these areas which are so far flung, like Galwan or Dras and all of that, which not only pollutes the environment, it is expensive for both the environment as well as for the exchequer. Because you are having trucks and trucks of fuel being taken away. So when we get orders from the army, these are real-time, real projects. Okay, these are not some created case studies or some projects which have no bearing. And the students that year start working on these projects. They design these homes and all of that. And when we generate surpluses, we make those homes for the army as well. And the surpluses that the company generates funds the students' education. Because if we don't get fee and we don't use CSR for operations, then we need some funds. So this is the most innovative financial model for any university in the world. And the Ministry of Home Affairs and Indian government should be proud of this thing, that somebody is attempting this, rather than witch hunting us. They should learn from this and ask all universities to be self-reliant like this. All government universities depend on government dole-outs. Okay, all private universities depend on fees from the students. This model does not exist in the world. So they should be inspired by it and ask others to do it. So when army starts working with us, they cannot work with a Section 8 company. Because the army does not give you initial funds. So you have to have working capital. So you work with banks, and banks need a private limited company to give you working capital, and if other investors we need to get for these. So they want profits to be generated for them, right? Section 8, you can't generate profits. Take out, you have to plow them back. So that is why Chezion Innovation Private Limited was set up. And the money that they are saying goes from HIAL to Chezion or Chezion to HIAL is because, let's say HIAL is an educational institute. Let's say we get corporate to give us CSR. Now the staff at HIAL is academic. They cannot build this thing. So as a third party, we give it to Chezion to build it for us. So and with the proper MOU, and which is duly audited, and utilization certificates from CAs are made and given. And we are not talking about dealing with small entities. All our donors are world-class MNCs and public sector units. And they have very, detailed diligence, as you know. Even though Sonam and I are directors on Chezion, all we've done is given our funds to Chezion as loan or equity. We have never taken out profits from Chezion. Those profits are only used to go into HIAL to run the courses. Similarly, HIAL, Sonam and I don't draw any salary. Instead, every year, depending on the funds that we generate by doing talks across the country, every year we donate 50 to lakhs to 1 crore to HIAL every year.
Right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.